Hi, this is Steve for TrueHollywoodTalk.com. We're up in lovely Palm Springs in the wintertime, thank God, nice and cool. Yeah, and rainy too. I want to welcome Richard Robbins from the documentary group. Richard, talking about his film Operation Homecoming. Welcome to TrueHollywoodTalk.com.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
Give us your background before we talk about the film.
Yes.
What got you involved in being a director? Give us a little background.
Well, I actually came out of the news world. I spent many years as a producer for Peter Jennings at ABC News, which is in some ways like a film school of its own. And this film actually grows out of a sense of things I always wanted to do but couldn't do in news. So it's my first feature documentary. And I think it's actually very un-news-like, but partly as a reaction to all those years, putting words in someone else's mouth.
I'm a big Peter Jennings fan, so that's really an honor to have someone who worked with him. Tell us, what is Operation Homecoming about, and tell how this whole thing kind of took form.
Well, when Peter was still alive, we had been talking about trying to make a film that spoke more to the human experience of war rather than the political issues or the military issues. And the National Endowment for the Arts announced a few years ago that they were going to start collecting writing from soldiers and their families. And we thought that seemed like a great way into the kind of human side of what it means to be a soldier. So the film is really built around the writing of troops, their experiences and interviews with them. And it's a sort of aggressively apolitical film about the war. It really tries to talk about what it feels like to be on the front lines rather than any of the politics of the war.
Any common themes from all the soldiers that you interviewed that was coming out of Iraq? Because like you said, you have the media outlets and people have their own spin depending on their political persuasion. What were some of the themes that were coming out of these young men who are risking their lives for us?
Well, I think that most of the people in the film are characterized by struggling to come to terms with what's happened to them, trying to find meaning in a set of experiences that are very powerful, very confusing, very traumatic. And that's a real challenge. I think it's probably a challenge that they will be dealing with for the rest of their lives. And in some ways, the writing is an attempt to deal with those issues.
What's been the response? Where's it played so far? And is this touching an emotional chord? I was just talking with Richard, saying how much I enjoyed Obama's speech the other day when he won Iowa. He was electric. And not to get too political on TrueHollywoodTalk.com, but Obama, bring those boys home, okay?
I think that the response has been very, very strong. We've played all over the country, all over the world now. What's surprising is most people don't want to see the film because it's about Iraq, and people don't want to think about Iraq. And they certainly don't want to spend 90 minutes having to sit in a dark theater and think about Iraq. When they see it, I think they're incredibly grateful that they did, because you're exposed to some ideas, some points of view that we're pretty insulated from these days in our culture. And having a better understanding of what these men and women are actually living through, I think can only, whatever your political persuasion, can only kind of enrich your understanding of what we're about as a country.
Did they play the documentary in front of the troops yet?
We've played on a number of military bases, at a reception at the Pentagon. One of the things that I think is really surprising is that, as a civilian, those of us on the civilian side, I think, have a perception of the military as being much more gung-ho and less sophisticated and nuanced in their understanding of the war than we are. And I think, in fact, it's actually the opposite, that if you are living and breathing that every day, you have a really complicated, really sophisticated, nuanced understanding of what it means. And I think that's what surprises people about the film a lot, is that these men and women are very thoughtful. They're confused. They're going through something really profound and trying to understand it.
We got to get you on the Chris Matthews show. I'm a big Chris Matthews fan. We got to see you on there talking about your documentary. What is the future for you, Richard? Is there anything else that you're working on right now? And what type of documentaries do you want to work on, or do you want to do feature films? Tell us about what are some of your aspirations going forward.
Well, our company, the Documentary Group, actually has another film in theaters right now called Steep. It's a documentary about big mountain skiing. And we have a whole series of films in development. I'm right now trying to get started on a film about the power of girls' education in the developing world. So we're have many interests as a company, and we're dedicated to trying to make sophisticated, smart documentaries on all kinds of subjects.
Well, I want to thank Richard for coming on TrueHollywoodTalk.com, and you've got to see this film, Operation Homecoming. I really think it's interesting. An apolitical war movie. When's the last time you heard about that in this world? This is Steve for True Hollywood Talk. Thanks, Richard.
Thank you very much.